Well, hey there, y'all. I just left Marrakesh, Morocco, and I had some issues. Unfortunately, I didn't vlog. I just worked with a charity there. So I'm gonna make this video for everybody, just so you know kind of some of the stuff I dealt with and just ways you can avoid some problems that I ran into. So the first kind of scam that you're going to run into is when you land in Marrakesh, you're going to need to take a taxi. Now, unfortunately, all the taxi drivers say the meter's broken. I've run across that in multiple countries, but they also do something that's going to help you out later on. You need to carry small change with you, because if your ride is 15 dirham and you hand him a 20, he's going to say he doesn't have change, even though he does. It's just a way to kind of scam tourists. So if you are traveling, always keep small change with you for water, snacks, kind of whatever you need, because you will run across that a few times. That I don't have change. Yeah, it's kind of a bummer, but it's just part of the game there. Now, another kind of scam I would run across are the tanneries. A lot of people say you should go see the tanneries. It's where they dye all the leather and everything. So you will have a lot of people trying to take you to the tanneries, and they say, yeah, it's no problem, I'll just show you around. Or the really popular thing to tell tourists is the tanneries are closed tomorrow, which they're open every day. So don't believe those people. And if you go, they're probably not going to let you in unless you have a guide, and the price becomes a lot steeper. I stayed away from the tanneries. This is just stuff I read online, but I had probably, over my 5 days there, probably a half dozen, 10 people try and take me to the tanneries on the back of a motor scooter or whatever, and they all speak very good English. They're all really friendly, but then I've heard near the end of the tour they want like $20 US, and then they get very aggressive, and all the friends that are in on the scam that are doing this to other tourists, they'll come in. So if you have a large group, I think it'd be okay, but if you're traveling by yourself like I am, I would stay away from the tanneries unless you have like a proper guide through a guide service. Now, if you're going shopping, just be prepared. You have to haggle and negotiate for everything. I've read so many different things on the internet, like you should start at a fifth or a quarter of what they're originally offering and then work your way up, but don't go too much higher than what you offered, because they're just trying to rip people off. They're ripping tourists off, and there's a different price for Moroccans and tourists. And I've experienced that a lot as I've traveled, but it does get very tiring. It really beat me down trying to negotiate for everything from a couple of bananas to get some bread, and I bought a few things for some friends. I have a friend getting married, so I bought a Moroccan wedding blanket while I was there. And yeah, it's such a process. And I personally don't like haggling. I just like, hey, how much is that? Okay, that's a fair price, I'll pay that. But you will have to negotiate and haggle for everything. And stand your ground though. If you don't like the price of something, walk away, because chances are that somebody else within a rock's throw of distance is going to have the same thing that you're looking for, and you may be able to negotiate the price. Something that's very common to do is negotiate your price. He won't go any lower than his lowest price, and you say, okay, la shukran, or merci, and then walk out, and that guy may chase you out of the store and say, okay. I did that for a few things. I tried that trick, and it does work. So if you are going to Marrakesh and you're going to go to the souks and you want to buy stuff for friends, family, or even for yourself, just be prepared. You're going to have to negotiate for everything. Okay, so as you're walking through the Medina in Marrakesh, you will run across a lot of people that are saying, no, the square is this way, the square is this way. And the thing is, all those streets are going to lead back to the square, and the square is Jemaa el Fna, and I'll talk about that in a minute next, but you will run across that just a half dozen times a day. People will say, no, the square is this way, the square is this way, or, where are you going? I'll help you, you seem lost. Or another one was, you need to walk on this side of the road. And then you're kind of like, well, there are people walking this way on both sides of the road. And I did have one bad experience with that, where a guy, was like, you need to be on this side, on the right side of the road. And I'm like, no. And you just wave them off. That's all you need to do, is wave these people off, and they'll leave you alone. look for the next person that they can go after. And this guy, yelled some obscenities at me, gave me the finger, and was like spitting on the ground as I just kept walking and ignoring him. But yeah, you will run across that. And the thing is, or they will even say that the street is closed or there is a mosque at the end of the street. Just don't listen to them. Just keep walking. Act like you know where you're going, even if you don't. And if you need to stop and look at Google Maps, don't do it on a very busy street, because people see that and they're like, okay, I can hustle this guy. So what their hustle is they're trying to take you to wherever you need to go, and you think, oh, they're just being friendly. No, they expect money at the end of this, anywhere from like 5 to 10 US dollars. Obviously in dirham, their local currency, but that was one thing I did notice is nobody there was just genuinely trying to help me. I felt like everybody was trying to like get something from me, like I'm a wallet with legs. So definitely keep that in mind if you're walking around. Don't accept help from locals, no matter how nice they seem, because they're gonna want money for it. And if you don't give them money, or you don't give them enough money in their mind, they're gonna get very angry, from what I've read online. Luckily, I just ignored them and just kept walking, and eventually they're gonna leave you alone. So I mentioned the square, Gemma El Fna. Well, there are a few things you should know. The food there is not that great. There are 3 stalls I know of. It was stall 93 and 31 for kebabs and things like that, like meats, and then stall 14 if you're interested in eating fish. Those are the ones that everybody online says are safe. I ate at stall 93, and it was okay, but it's fun. You should go there and see it. It's definitely a sight to see at night, but keep your wits about you, because there are a lot of people trying to scam you out of money there. You have a lot of guys who they have monkeys on chains, or they have snakes, and they'll walk up and put the monkey on you or put the snake on you and then demand money to take it off. And you're like, what? I was just walking by. I didn't even see you. And then that's when they're usually a couple people there that are all together, and they'll all start yelling and causing a scene, and you will get uncomfortable. And I saw it happen to a few people. I just kept walking quick. The one night I went there to Gemma El Fna, it is definitely very unsettling when a bunch of guys are yelling at you in a foreign language and you don't know what to do, and they're just saying money, money, money. That was definitely rough to see. Don't try and sneak pictures of the acrobats or the musicians or anything, because they will get angry. So if you do want to take a picture of these guys, you should pay them. Okay, so something a lot of people want to buy when they're in Marrakesh, or just Morocco in general, is argan oil. Really quickly, there's a lot of fake argan oil out there. It's sunflower oil, or just regular Crisco oil, and they just rebottle it and then sell it to unknowing tourists who think that they're buying something that's really good for them. There is one store I know of where they have just pure argan oil, and it's supposed to be really good. It's La Majorelle, and it's right by the gardens near the Medina. So if you're looking for argan oil, go there. I wouldn't buy it just on the street or in a souk. So as you are walking around the labyrinth that is the Medina in Marrakech, you should definitely keep an eye on your belongings, because this was the first time that this has happened to me in 7 months of travel. I was walking, I had my camera in my hand, and I was just getting ready to take some pictures. It was my first day out. A guy rode by on a scooter, and a guy on the back tried to grab my camera from me, and I have it on a tripod, and he was trying to grab the tripod, and I had a good grip, so I held on really tight, and he didn't get it. But everybody else kind of around me, I was looking around, waiting for someone to be like, I'm so sorry, I can't believe that happened. Nope, it was just business as usual. So the snatch and grab on scooters is something I experienced. I even experienced, for the first few times, pickpockets. I felt a guy try and get in me, and I reached back and slapped his hand. I turned around, and he was running away. I want to say he was probably early 20s. But yeah, it was very, very much a bummer to have that happen to me on the same day. Somebody tried to steal my camera out of my hand, and a pickpocket. And then my last day there, walking through the Medina, I left my bag at home. I quit trying to take the camera out with my backpack. I was just walking down the street. felt another guy try and go in my back pocket, but at that point I was wearing my pants where I have zippers on the sides, so that's where I was putting my money, and in a breast pocket as opposed to in my back pocket or in a wallet. So definitely think about that if you're walking the streets. Be careful with your belongings and always keep an eye on them. So here's another thing that I experienced, and I didn't see much in other forums and like TripAdvisor stuff. The hotel bait and switch. So I booked an Airbnb, and it looked really nice. It was a small private room, but it had Wi-Fi and a small air conditioner. So I was like, okay, great. It was going to be hot while I was there too. It's going to be like 40 degrees Celsius, so around 100 degrees. So I was like, perfect. I arrived really late because my flight was canceled from Casablanca to Marrakech when I came into the country. So I ended up having to take a bus from Casablanca to Marrakech, and I got into my Airbnb at like 4 in the morning. Well, the first thing, my host met me, talked with the taxi driver, and then he walked me back down the streets, which I wouldn't have found. It's very hard to find your way around there. But at 4 in the morning, I would have been so lost until he would have woken up. So it was nice of him to stay up. But when I get there, it was definitely not the room in the picture. It was actually this. So as you can see, it was basically like a hole in the ceiling. I couldn't even stretch my arms out to the sides. It was just long enough to sleep in. And with camera gear and all this other stuff, there was no way to secure my goods. So I would definitely think about, getting a nice riad, which is, they're like hotels, but they're really small. It's kind of like a family house with a nice courtyard. They often have meals there. That's what I ended up moving to. It was just like an extra $5 a night, and it was an amazing room, great staff, really happy. And when I was walking around, I met a Canadian couple, and they said the same thing happened to them the first time they came to Marrakech. The pictures online were from some other place, and the guy said, "Oh, for that room you need to pay more." So yeah, it's kind of a bummer. It's never happened to me before, but yeah, after one night, I slept from like 4 to 8 a.m., just grabbed my stuff and got out of there, canceled the Airbnb, didn't even talk to the host. So definitely think about that. Okay, something for all you drone pilots out there. Do not bring your drone to Morocco. 100% don't do it. So like I said earlier, my flight landed in Casablanca, and we had to take a plane or a bus to Marrakech. We never actually went through customs. They stamped our passport and everything, but we didn't have to declare or not declare anything. So I went to Marrakech on this bus that the airline got us because the flight was canceled. And then when I'm leaving Marrakech, going back to Casablanca, I go through the airport and they say, "Do you have a drone?" And we see a drone in your bag with the X-ray. And I'm like, "Yeah, I have a drone." I had gone to the embassy and written to Nasser Bourita, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, trying to get permission to bring my drone into the country and fly it. I didn't get permission, but I figured, I have a friend at the embassy. This should be okay. I'm not going to fly it. I'm just going through the country with it. Well, the police showed up. They have an office there, so they take me to their office. I'm not in handcuffs or anything, and they explain, drones are illegal. And I go, "Well, what's going to happen here?" And they said, "Okay, well, here's what's going to happen. We're going to take your drone and the controller, and we are going to do an investigation, and we are going to try and decide and find out if you flew the drone in Morocco. And if you did, you're not going to get it back." And I go, "Oh, I didn't." And I showed them on the app. You can pull up your flight history. I was like, "Listen, the last time I flew it was in South Africa. It's been a week since I flew it." He's like, "Okay, well, we have to do our investigation. We'll go to the Riyadh and everything." And he goes, I'm like, "Okay, well, my friend at the charity I worked with, they can get it and send it to me. I guess, I'll just pay the postage on that because I know I didn't fly it." So he said it would be about 3 weeks. And then after I get done with him, sign like 20 different of the same letter. I just signed like 20 of them. Couldn't read it, which I know was stupid. I shouldn't have signed it without knowing what it said. But, I thought everything was on the up and up. I still thought everything was going to be okay. So then they take me to customs. The police hit me off at customs. Customs signs something for the police, and the policeman leaves. That's when I looked at the customs lady and said, so the investigation should take 3 weeks, right? And she goes, what investigation? She's like, you brought a drone in here and you shouldn't have had a drone. I was like, oh my gosh. So the policeman lied to me. I go, well, what happens now? And she goes, well, we're going to keep the drone and you need to contact your consulate. And the consulate is in Casablanca. And I go, okay, well, what do I tell them? They just say, tell them that we took your drone and they can help you get it back. I go, okay, well, that's the only thing I can do, right? She said, that's the only thing you can do. So I get done with the customs, go outside, and immediately call the consulate. It's very hard to get in touch with the consulate there, but after some emails back and forth, I finally got them to email me back, and they told me very briefly, we have nothing to do with getting drones back for American citizens that were taken in Morocco. I don't know why customs told you this. So do not bring your drone into Morocco. They will take it. And the reason I brought up the whole customs issue when I first came in and I didn't declare anything, if you declare your drone, they will put it in a locker, and I think it's like $20 US for a week. And they will keep the drone there and then you fly out. Now, I would have declared the drone if the airline hadn't have been canceled and we didn't go through that process. So I got my drone taken by Moroccan customs and there's no way I'm getting it back. Very bummed because next is going to be Europe, and I know that many European countries are very drone friendly or drone tolerant. So do not bring your drone to Morocco. The only way to get permission apparently is to be like a big Hollywood studio, and even still it's very hard. They're very concerned with security, so 100% don't bring your drone. So now some of the great things about Marrakesh. Number one, tagine. It's a type of food. Love the chicken tagine. My favorite place to eat it was a restaurant called Nomad, because hey, I'm the charitable nomad. But it was one of the best meals I had had in months. Great staff. They spoke very good English. But oh my gosh, the chicken tagine! I'm just thinking about it in my mouth. About to start watering. Definitely eat tagine. And there's a drink that you will find everywhere. If you start negotiating in the souks for things, especially if you're trying to buy a rug or pillows or anything like that, mint tea. I had never experienced anything like this mint tea before. It is amazing, and it is just everywhere. When you show up at a riad, they'll offer you mint tea and pastries. Drink the mint tea. It's so good. Another thing I would say is definitely just walk around. Like, put your camera down, leave your bags, and just walk with nowhere to go. It's amazing the things you'll see. It is a very, very cool old historic area being in the Medina. So just walk around. You'll see like amazing doors, just architecture. It's just so cool. The pictures that you see online of Marrakesh and in the Medina don't do it justice. It is amazing. It's an amazing feat of architecture, and just walk around. It's so much fun. In addition to mint tea, I would definitely say drink the orange juice. Go to the square, Jemaa el Fnaa Square, and they have all along the outskirts, you will see guys selling juices. The orange juice is so fresh. Definitely try that when you go to the square, because everybody should go to the square at least once. So when you're there, even if you don't eat, get some orange juice there. And if you get burned out from the Medina and all the haggling, go outside to the new city, Guyez, and that is where you will find a lot of fixed price shops. So you won't have to barter, you won't have to haggle. It's a bit cleaner. You won't see cats everywhere, and there are not so many beggars. And nobody. The one day I went there, nobody tried to scam me or anything. So yeah, definitely get out and see more of Marrakesh than just the Medina. And if you are going to be shipping something back, in the new city, there is a post office called Amana, or Amana, A-M-A-N-A. That is the place to go ship stuff back. They were great. There's a guy right when you walk in, and he'll know that you're a tourist trying to ship something back. I read about this guy at a few places, and he doesn't work for the post office, but he will package everything up for you. He will, do all the paperwork for you. And it was just like $5. And I ended up giving him 10 because he was so nice. He does all the paperwork, gets it all packed up. And he kind of cuts the line and helps you out. So if you are trying to ship something back and you don't have space, Amana or Amana, I never really figured out what the actual name was, but that is the place to go. It's right next to the main post office in the new city. If you jump into a taxi and you say, Amana, they will know where you're trying to go. So that was all my advice on your trip to Marrakesh. I hope you guys go check it out. Just keep in mind what I said, do a lot of research, but yeah, get out there, travel, have some fun, and try and experience Marrakesh and all it's got to offer. But I hope this helps some of you who are going to be out there traveling to Marrakesh and in the Medina. And yeah, just I miss it. There were some hard times, but it was definitely a lot of fun while I was there. But thank you for watching the video, and I hope you guys will travel along on some of my other adventures. I've never really done a video like this before, but yeah, hopefully you'll subscribe and we can go on some adventures together. So come on.